Good morning friends, Linda here from my fancy homestead. I have a big day ahead of me. I got up at 6 o'clock and the birds were going crazy. It's amazing. My body is not used to it because the time went back of the summer saving time, I think. Yeah, weird. But what we're trying to do today is gonna be I have a lot of things on my table. We're gonna have a lot of cooking to do today due to my freezer being empty, and I wanted to make a challenge of spending £50 and then potentially making 50 meals. I'll see if I can manage how many meals I can squeeze out of this, but I will cook tikka masala, shepherd's pie, 2 different pasta bakes, and fajitas. Yeah, my freezer's empty. There it goes. I need food. So what we're gonna do this morning, I need to go out at 9 o'clock and we're gonna start processing this. I'm gonna chop everything up so I can easily just get on with it when I hate this echo. I need to do something about it. I need to put something on the walls. By the way, don't mind my fan. My seedlings are coming up. Look how gorgeous they are. So the fan is there to help them develop some strength and don't be so lanky. Sun's coming up. It's time to go. It's 7 o'clock now. I have bamboozled an hour. I need to go in 2 hours. This is gonna be like good. Okay, let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. Okay, I need to go. It's 9 o'clock now, but I have chopped the onions, potatoes, mushrooms, peppers, cauliflower and broccoli. Everything's done. I didn't manage to grate the cheese that I wanted to do, but it's all ready and I need to shoot. See you later in the afternoon. I'm back home. And we are ready to start. It's afternoon, so I'll probably be cooking into late night, but it doesn't really matter. I got my recipe list and what I need to cook at which time so that it works better. First, we're gonna start with naan bread. I have chopped everything up as well. I am feeling really energized. Everything's chopped, everything's done, everything's like, yeah. So we're gonna start with long things like naan bread, because that will need to do its thing and it will need to rise for about an hour and a half. And then we're gonna marinate the fajitas and the chicken, because that needs to sit in a marinade and do its thing as well. Things. And then we will need to boil the potatoes as well. They're just here. Because shepherd's pie is the second item on my list. I think I'm gonna edit this video in a different way. I'm gonna do it recipe by recipe. And upside down and inside out. Hope you're enjoying it. I'm about to start on the naan bread, and don't mind me just doing some garlic by hand because I'm stressed. It's fine. The original recipe used to ask for like 3 cloves of garlic, but I like garlic, so it's gonna go, a whole head is gonna go in because I'm doubling the recipe, because these things are amazing. So how many heads of garlic I have are all gonna go in. I should have started my yeast actually before doing this, and I have no idea why am I doing this now. Let's start on yeast. 100 Because I'm doubling the recipe, 2, I'm gonna do 100 ml warm water and then 2 tablespoons of yeast, dry yeast I have it, and some sugar. Now we just need to wait for this thing to warm up and start bubbling and activate, and then we can start on the actual naan bread mixture. I'm gonna weigh out. This is 1.5 kilos, but I need about 60-70 grams for another recipe. So I'm gonna double, because we're doubling up. It's gonna be 120 kilos of flour will go into the naan breads, and then the rest will stay for the other recipes that I need. So I have kind of calculated it, so I would use almost all of it and there would not be any waste with any of these things in the recipes. So I'm just very stressed because everything needs to happen literally on the dot for the plan to work. I have never cooked like this before, because usually it's like I can do this, I can do that. Now it's like I have specific amount of things and I need to get specific amount of things out of it. Now the garlic. I usually use like the really fine salt that I have for this as well, because if I use the rock salt that I have, they have very like big granules, and this thing, I don't know if it zooms in, it's very fine. So 2 of these. 150 milliliters of plain yogurt, so that's 300 milliliters, but that exactly leaves me 200 milliliters that I will need for tikka masala later on. See? Plan. This has taken me days to figure everything out. And the headache that I have had, and then the shopping trip that I needed to do. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. The yeast is activated. If you can see, there's a bit of a line. So all of that goes in the pot, and then I need to warm up 300 milliliters of warm milk as well. And that goes in the mixer. It's mixed now, and this is gonna rest for an hour, and it will double in size if I have done everything right, which I have. And then we can start baking it. Just like a wet towel over the top so it doesn't dry out. And I'm gonna put it on windowsill in the sun so it can get like nice and warm. So I went upstairs and put my naan bread upstairs in the airing cupboard because I thought that it was too cold here. It wasn't reacting at all. It's double the size. It's ready to bake. Isn't it lovely? I'm just gonna prepare the room for it now. They are super easy. I usually just grab some and I make 80-gram bowl like this. That's 110, so some of it will come off. And this is how I can manage the portion sizes. 80 grams, perfect. You roll it out, put it on the pan and just bake it. Ta-da-da! And that's garlic naan bread. Well, yeah. We're starting on the next bit. So this is fajita mix. You can actually make your own fajita mix. I usually make my own from the spices that I have at home, and I might make a video about it. But to be like straight with the challenge, I'm not trying not to use anything that I have at home except for oil and sugar and things like that. You know, when you need like a spoonful of things, 4 things, words. I have 7 recipes living in my head at the moment, and they're all competing for everything, and it's painful. Anyways, fajitas. We are gonna put this with the chicken. I cut it in strips, and then we're gonna put the mix, the chicken and the lime juice in to marinate, because the chicken was frozen. It can't be refrozen again without cooking, so I will need to cook it for a bit, and then I'll freeze it as cooked, and then I'll cook it again when, you know, it's like par cooked. Yeah. Here's my chicken, and it's cut in strips. Goes in. And these plates I don't wash by hand. I put it in my dishwasher because it's raw chicken. I'm not gonna play with fate. And then 1 single lime that I managed to squeeze into the challenge because the mushrooms were cheaper than I anticipated. I am not gonna use one of my wooden spoons either, because raw chicken and wood doesn't go well together. I have a specific cutting board as well. I'll put this aside for an hour, and then it will be ready to cook, and then I can freeze my fajitas, because I have already cut the peppers and I have cut the onions. Everything's ready. Everything's ready! It's been an hour, and I am gonna start cooking this so they can cool off and can go in the freezer bags, and I can put it in the freezer like as soon as possible, basically. Oh, my kitchen is turning into a war zone. Fajitas are ready. Ta-da-da, ta-da-da-da-da. Now these need to cool down. So this has, sorry about the light, the sun's going down. The chicken? There we go. The chicken has cooled off, and now I can add peppers and the onions, and then I can freeze it and it can go in. And this is going to be the first one that goes into the freezer. Yay! There we go. Chicken fajitas for 2 people, 4 meals. For a single person, 8 meals. Goes into the freezer now. Shepherd's pie is next, and I have already peeled and cut the potatoes in chunks. Ah, it's so bright. No, go away. Stop being so bright. There we go. Like in chunks, and then these will boil. And then I'll make mash. I'm gonna use salt on that. So there's salt. This pan I will have mushrooms, because I like to stretch my shepherd's pie as much as possible, because meat is expensive. Like this cost me £4.20, and it's like 500 grams. So I'm gonna bulk it up. This cost me £1. So I'm gonna have 1/3 of it go into the shepherd's pie. 1/3 will be like a side with the shepherd's pie. I'm just gonna steam the vegetables, and then 1/3 is gonna go into a bake. And then there's mushrooms. Half of these go in the shepherd's pie, the other half go in the pasta mushroom bake. And then onions. I need to save about half of these for tikka masala, but the other half will go in the shepherd's pie. See my thought process and why it's like so stressful. I feel like my brain's melting at the moment. Help! Onions have finished caramelizing, so they are coming out, and the mushrooms are done as well. The mince is going in. And a teeny tiny little bit of water. We need to brown the meat, and then we're gonna start adding all of the bits to it. We just need to add the gravy granules now. And maybe one more. Now when it's like this kind of coloring because of the gravy and it's starting to thicken up, we just add everything else like super fast. Shepherd's pie is ready and I just need mash. The sun is going down. I put the trays here and we're gonna fill them up with the shepherd's pie mixture, and then we're gonna wait for the mash to come in a bit later. But it doesn't really matter that these cool off, because it's gonna be easier for me to put it in the freezer later on, etc, 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 etc. I'm putting you down now. Potatoes are ready. I have just checked them and they are soft, and the fork's going through them like through the butter. I need to drain them now, and then we're gonna start mashing. I'm gonna add a little bit of milk and a little bit of butter. That's the one. Shepherd's pie is ready, and it is 6 meals, or if you were, well, for me and Mark, and if you were a single person, that would be 12 meals. It's going to the freezer. Now we're gonna start on tikka masala. Da, 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 the next one along, and that's that chicken down there. It's getting ready. So I need 50 grams of butter in the pot, a little bit of oil, pinch of oil, teeny tiny little bit, onions goes in, and salt, and then we golden the English hard, and then we're gonna make the onions caramelized. I got both kinds of onions in here. I got the white ones and the purple ones that I had left over from fajitas. I didn't want to waste them, so they all went in here, and they're gonna be lovely. They are caramelized now, and we are ready to put in the paste and the peppers. So I have tikka paste, and it all goes in there, and all of the 4 of the peppers that I cut in the morning go in there as well. I usually try to get everything out of the jar, but you can't, so I have poured a little bit of water in there. And guess what? Water will evaporate, but everything else will stay, which is great. It's been 5 minutes now, and this is doing really, really well. I think we are ready to add the chicken now. Now the tikka masala will need to cook for a little bit before we add 250 milliliters of water, well, 200 milliliters of water, and 2 cans of chopped tomatoes plus 2 tablespoons. I have added everything I needed for tikka masala, and now I just need to cook the chicken through and then it will be ready. I think the tikka masala is ready and it's been boiling and it's been doing really great. The last thing we need to do is add some yogurt and mango chutney and mix it in, and then it goes into the molds, the trays, and then it goes into the freezer. Chicken tikka masala. Wee! 7 meals for 2 or 14 meals for 1. There we go. Now it goes to the freezer. I have this leftover potato mash, so I was thinking that I am gonna be doing something different with it today. I am gonna bake it, and it's warm, but it's not too bad to handle. I just need to season it really well, and then I'm gonna bake it on a pan, like, you know, like pancakes or things like that, basically. And then they are really well seasoned, because usually there's not enough salt or not enough pepper. So that's the next thing we're gonna do with this. That's quite a lot, if I say so myself. I had a taste. It's not that bad. It just needs a little bit more salt and I think some pepper, because it has nothing. Salt. Ha. You can tell when I'm becoming tired, because I'm becoming weirder. Yeah, I can tell myself. I'm sorry. Why am I doing it with a spoon? I was literally going in with my hand, and my hand's clean because I literally just washed them. I washed them to grab a spoon. It's been a long day. So I have seasoned it well and it has passed the taste test, and I really like it now. Now we just do the oil and the pan, and you know, I just want a little bit of golden color around it. I'm trying different methods how to make Mark eat mashed potato, because he really doesn't like mashed potato and I really like mashed potato. So I'm trying different recipes to make him eat it. Is it bad? There's the first tray that is going in and they are ready. Hopefully they don't taste as much as mashed potato and Mark doesn't see the difference, but and they so pretty. They are so pretty and they're very hot, so they need to cool down first. I am starting a water for pasta because I have 2 different pasta bakes to do, and as you know, you can't do pasta in a cold water. There is a method in my madness. Because at this point, let's bet, okay, there is only about 4 recipes that are living in my brain now, because some of them have been done, but yeah, I kind of left the ones that I'm less familiar to the end, and I'm kind of regretting it now. The water for my pasta is boiling and it is ready. Because I'm doing 2 bakes, each is 500 grams of pasta. All of this kilo will be boiled. Now we just wait for 11 minutes. Pasta's ready. We are ready to start the next one. It is almost dark outside and it is almost 8 o'clock in the evening. But I will finish it before I go. A little bit of butter and then we melt it and then we fry mushrooms in it. This pot has seen so much use today. Good pot. And these are the mushrooms. Half of them went into shepherd's pie and now the other half is going here. The mushrooms are ready. I'm gonna take them out, add the rest of the butter, which is 40 grams, and then I'm gonna fry some more things like spring onion, and I need to add 50 grams of flour and then milk, which is 500 ml. I'll show you. Spring onion. Onions are basically done, and now we just take it out again. $50 grams of flour and then some milk. This is the not so fun part where you just stir it until all of the lumps are gone, but it's getting there. The white sauce is ready, starting to stick, so I need to put everything in like right now, like basically chuck everything in at the same time, and I'm gonna bulk it up by using a frozen veg. This is half the pasta as well. I split it apart. Got some ham. If you want it vegetarian, just leave it out. I'm gonna leave this rest for using it up as a side. So basically this would be the main and this would be the side. You know, you always want the veg on the side or something like that. This is ready. Now it just needs to cool off. Mushroom pasta bake. Dun, dun, dun. 5 meals for 2 or 10 for a single person. It depends on how you count. These can go. For the other break, we need to boil our broccoli and cauliflower or steam it. I find it easier to just boil it like real fast. So my water is boiling and here's broccoli and cauliflower, and I'm just gonna do a fast, basically steam bath slash broil. Kind of. And now it's gonna sit in there for about 7 minutes. And then it should be ready. For the cheesy broccoli pasta bake, we're gonna do 50 grams of butter, then we're gonna do 50 grams of flour, milk, and we're gonna make a white sauce, and then we're gonna add cheese to it. It's gonna be yummy. Cauliflower bake. Now we need to, the sauce is kind of thick. I don't think you can see this, but it is. I'm gonna add cheese to it now, and then we dump in the pasta and we dump in the broccoli and cauliflower, and it's ready. Add some salt and pepper as well. Up to taste. Cheesy broccoli and pasta bake. 7 meals for 2 people, or 14. Yeah, 14 if you're on your own. There you go. And these are going out. It's completely dark outside now. I'm afraid to go in my garden. The next thing we are gonna make is cauliflower cheese soup. That's the one. I just love cauliflower, and kind of reminds me of cheesy cauliflower. So here we go. We need stock, and for that I'm not going to buy the ready-made stuff. Now I'm going to buy the cheapest thing you have. One of these in a half a liter boiling water. You won't tell the difference if it's in the soup. It's a base. It's a base. I need to make the stock myself. So that just finished boiling. 700 milliliters. It's a science. That's a half a liter. About 250. 1.5 cubes. Mark came and stole all of my water. He made me tea. So I have a cup of tea, which is nice. Very nice. While I'm doing this, I need a little bit of butter and I need to cook 1 onion. I actually left one behind when I was doing all the onions and everything else. I left back 1 potato as well, and you will need that. That's the onion. People usually, well, some people just drop it in and then they mix it in. My mum always broke it apart because she was in opinion that it will dissolve better. So we are doing that because cook as you are taught, right? This can be saved till next time because it's the other half. The next part's kind of easy. You just need to dump everything together when the onions are ready. So onions are cooked. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? It's kind of trying to blur it out. So we need to add some milk. 400 ml. My lovely stock, 700 ml. 900 grams of cauliflower. So we used the other side of the cauliflower into the broccoli and cauliflower pasta. Hey. Oh, there we go. And then we're gonna add 1 potato cut into chunks, like that. And then season it to taste. Salt, pepper, whatever you want. So the soup is ready. It's been boiling and it made a mess, as you can see on the sides, because it's milk. And yeah, everything's super mushy in there. So either at this point I can blend it with a blender or I can mush it with a potato masher. I'm thinking potato masher. I just need it to be a little bit colder. I've just added some cheese to it as well, what I had left from everything else, and I have mushed it together. I need to add salt to this and some pepper to the taste, and then we can start freezing it. Cream, well, cheese and cauliflower soup, and it's very tasty. 7 meals or 14 for me and Mark, because we usually have something else with it. Then yeah, I don't know how many I made. I'm gonna take this to the garage. Bye! I am done and I have finished everything. I have just taken the last bits to the garage and put it in the freezer, and the meal count is 36. That is for double meals. So me and Mark, when we would do eating, that's 36 meals. So basically over a month worth of food. I'm not counting these bits because these are like sides of the meals that I prepared. I have some tortillas as well, and I have some rice that I bought within the budget, and that will be like tikka masala with the rice and the naan bread. And for example, and then fajitas, I have everything in the freezer plus the tortilla that I have. I will just need to freeze them as well for when they're ready. I still have leftover butter for something else that I could potentially do. I have yeast that I bought with this money, and that will stay because that's like that much left, and you can make so much bread out of that. What else is there? I have the gravy. That's great because that will be very good with shepherd's pie. And I still have the oh, my brain's not working. Frozen vegetables that will go with shepherd's pie as well. Yeah, the meals are quite rounded. And then these potato patties turned out pretty well. I had one and they are quite tasty. Mark already stole one of my naan breads. There were 24 from the batch that I made, like the 2 batches, so it's 12 naan breads per batch. But he stole one, and now there's 23, and I feel like I must steal one to equal the number. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and it wasn't too long, but because my day has been very, very long. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, and please let me know what kind of recipes you would do next time. Maybe I can get some ideas from you guys. That would be awesome. Yeah, awesome.